Greetings, friends, and welcome back to the 3 Minute Horror Show. Today I'll be interviewing filmmaker Chase Dudley. Chase has been making movies since the year 2000. Can you imagine the year 2000 when everything was supposed to crash? It didn't. He's been doing this for 26 years. He's got some exciting projects coming up very soon, and that's what we're going to talk about today. And Chase, would you like before we get started, would you like to give the audience a little background on yourself?
Hey, yeah. Like you said, I've been making short films since 2000, when the world was supposed to crash, which it didn't. I think everybody remember that Y2K. That's so, man, that threw me back to memory lane. So I made my first feature film in 2008. It was terrible. Nobody would ever see it. It is in a vault. I made my second feature film in 2011 called Past Due, which I credit as my first film. It's about a librarian that kills you for overdue library books. And then I shot I'm gonna say my second feature film, Peyton's Burton, which was an interracial love drama that was based off of my high school experience. There's some, fictional elements in there, but it was inspired by my high school relationship sweetheart, where we dealt with racism on both sides of the spectrum. My third feature film was Marvelous Mandy in 2016. It was originally going to be a reboot of Past Due, but it had its own unique story, and I'm glad that we went with that route. Then I made my fourth feature film, Payday, in 2017, and that was inspired by Dog Day Afternoon, which was a heist film we shot in Elizabethtown. And then my fifth feature film was Beast of the Field, where we shot pretty much all outdoors because I was like, hey, what can go wrong? We shoot all outdoors. And then we shot in the middle of what was Hurricane Florence, dumped all the rain and wind. And we pretty much was lucky to even make the movie. Um, then I took a 2 year break, kind of went into like a bit of a, I guess, what would be that word? I burnt out
Oh,
for
a
a little
funk,
while.
like a bit of a
Yeah,
funk.
a
Okay.
funk. I really thought I was done. And then COVID hit, and then this one day, I told my wife, I was like, "Hey, I want to get work," and she was like, "You said you were done. I kind of got rid of everything." And then I filmed Locked In 2021, and then my second feature film, or my second, wow, where I'm all over the place. This crowdfunding would do a lot to you, but Broken Innocence, I credit to be my second successful film. It did really well. Kind of hit a new threshold. That was my first crowdfunding film. We raised $58,000, and then we raised about 10,000 private equity. And we made 30,000 on the opening 90 days of the
Wow.
streaming, and then we went on to do Blood in the Bleachers, and we made 100 grand or we raised 100 grand on Indiegogo, and then after we shot that, we had a premiere, and we had 600 people there, and
Wow.
we realized how much things have really changed. It was really truly something I can't explain, because until people show up, you don't really know the impact you make on people. And I mean, we never sold out like that. I mean, 600 people, we had to turn people away. We ended up having to make another event because there was people really trying to get in to see that movie. And I had to, of course, share all those people there, because no one would have believed me if I just said that. Um, and that released last September, and it's doing pretty well on streaming. And then we shot our biggest feature film, The Desperate, which was a $200,000 budget film. We had Noel G from Fast and the Furious and Training Day, Lisa Wilcox, and then we have Leonora Scelfo from the original Scream, and that's going to be premiering here in September. And we just wrapped A Widow's Oath, which Elizabeth Chamberlain was mentioning when she was on here a
Hmm.
month before, and that was my 10th feature film. And that is in post production, and now here we are with A Widow's Oath. I'm sorry for that long introduction.
That's okay. We'll come around back to that stuff and get more information on it as we
Okay.
go.
Yeah, no, I was about to say I was trying to think of like gave me a little bit of background. I was like, well, did these movies? So
But okay,
um
let's take two steps back though and talk about you first. Have you always been a
okay.
creative person?
Um, I I would imagine so. Because when I was in middle school, they used to share. They used to make these little bear books, and this was before I got my first camera. I was always writing short stories, and never was paying attention to my schoolwork. I was always writing these stories, and I remember somebody read some of these stories that I was writing, and they immediately turned them into the principal's office, and then they thought that I was like really plotting to harm people, and they were interviewing, bringing my mom in to school. And this is right around, all the school shootings and the school violence and stuff like that. So it was a really weird time because my mom was like, no, he really loves, horror movies. And, I had all the Scream costumes and I used to bring it to school. I didn't think that I was being creepy, but on hindsight, looking back on it, I can really now see at the time when I was young and adolescent, I thought it was normal to be a big moviegoer.
Yeah, yeah. Now, I'm going to ask you what you drew artistic inspiration from as a child, but we kind of already get the idea that it was horror movies, and I think that the guy is on your shirt right there.
Yes, I wore that for a reason. I was torn because I was like I was thinking about wearing a widow's oath,
Yeah,
but Child's Play was the first movie that I can think of, and even my parents say it all the time. This was the movie that I think changed in me on like how did they do that and just the mystery of like wow, what is this? And how did they do that? How did they make that so realistic? Because like 1988, I was
yeah,
5 and was about to get a haircut from my uncle, and he was like, "You guys want to watch Child's Play? That sounds like a very fun movie."
yeah, yeah, for
And,
sure.
yeah. So he's like, "Okay, I'm gonna be stuck in the chair getting my haircut for an hour. Where am I going?" And I remember just being really blown away by watching that, and just like, and then all of a sudden, I took the VHS tape. I don't even know if I got permission, and I was watching that movie every single day,
Wow.
as long as I can remember. I mean, that movie really made me obsessed with just the process of movie making.
Well, you know what? One of us is being cheesy and wearing their own merch, and this time it's me.
No, that's great. No, I almost threw on a widow's oath. I was like, I really got to represent and everything, but I'm such a fanboy of movies that really inspired me.
Yeah. So, at what point in your life did you know that filmmaking was your future?
I had to say when I seen Scream in theaters,
Yeah.
yes, it. Another reason why everybody thought I was really weird growing up. I seen that movie in theaters 11 times.
Wow.
And
Holy
it came
smokes.
out close to Christmas, and
Yeah.
everybody's going to their family movie in Christmas. I'm lined up watching Scream.
Well, it's a good thing that it didn't cost back then what it costs to go to the movies now. Holy smokes.
Yeah, that's true. But even if it did, I
Yeah.
still probably would have found a way to win because a lot of people, although I do agree, movie tickets are more expensive
Yeah.
today than they ever were. It is still the cheapest form of entertainment.
Yeah. Yeah. That's fair enough.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you go to like an amusement park, you're $60 just to
Oh,
get
yeah.
in. Then you're paying for games, or then you're paying to eat there. So you're spending at least about $100. A movie theater, you're spending about maybe 20, 30 person.
So, what were the first steps that you took towards making your dreams of putting movies up on the big screen a reality?
Well, my parents got me a camcorder in 1998 for Christmas. I was 15 years old, and I've never put it down. I was always making homemade films, trying to replica what they were doing, and it was very hard back then because it looks easy, but when you're the one shooting it, and then you're trying to record yourself, and then you're trying to put people together,
Yeah.
it's kind of weird how the universe really start kind of prepping me to be a director.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. And do you want to talk about that first film project that you worked on or not quite?
Not quite.
No, okay.
Um,
All right.
Not quite, because it's. I mean, I guess in a sense, I guess it's fair to talk about it because I mentioned it.
Yeah.
I It was a film that the ideal and the premise of it, but the fact that it wasn't edited, it was put together. I tried to edit the best of my ability at Video Kitchen, which is a place you go. It's a building you can pay 60 bucks an hour to edit yourself,
Okay.
and it was really poorly together because I'm not an editor. And at the time, it was really, I felt that was great in hindsight. But then once you get on social media and you start really connecting with people who were doing it, for example, I met Jacob Ennis and Gregory Brock in 2008, and they invited me to their film stash. And I seen how well that movie put together. I literally burnt my stash of movie. I was like, I really got to make what a real movie is. And I didn't realize that they had all this stuff where you can do that. That
Hmm.
was so foreign to me.
Yeah.
Um, and I just was like, wow, I really got to get myself together.
So we talked a little bit about your career leading up to Blood on the Bleachers,
Hmm.
about your previous films. And you didn't just start off making horror films. You made all sorts of different types of genres of films. Um,
Yes.
yeah. What types of genres did you have the most fun working in?
Man, I think a little bit of everything
Mm-hmm.
because I'm not a repetitive person. My favorite filmmakers growing up, Steven Spielberg, David Fincher, they do a little bit of everything.
Mm-hmm.
And although I grew up loving horror movies, I don't want to live in that world because I feel like as an artistic expression, I'm not just one thing. Like, I see a good drama, I love comedies, I love thrillers. I think if I was to like pick which one is my favorite genre, I would have to say thrillers because I think thrillers you can kind of do a little bit of the horror theme, but you can still make a really good dramatic. And I think David Fincher mastered the thriller genre with
Oh yeah.
Seven, Gone Girl. He's really perfected thrillers.
I agree with you 100%. Now, so what are some of the biggest lessons that you learned about filmmaking in your earlier career that you can still apply today?
Oh man, like early in my career, I did not really have my voice. I kind of was a very big yes man. And I think it takes a moment to kind of feel your artistic expression. You're just really lucky to be there, and you kind of you learn a lot from how you approach people because everybody in a different department, like works different. One thing I've learned that really helped me out a lot is I used to over explain, and then if you expect an actor to know their lines, but you're over directing. I see so many directors over direct by giving way too much information. And, then you kind of shut a person down. One thing I've learned over the years is really knowing I'm the captain of the ship and I like to create an atmosphere where I hired a DP for a specific reason, just like I hired an actor for a specific reason. And learning, them learning your core values, but yet you're learning their process and finding a fine medium to build a transparent relationship where both parties really trust each other. That to me, I've been really having good results with everybody going with that approach.
Yeah. No, that's, you know what? That's probably the best answer I've ever heard about that. So, yeah.
Well, I'm glad
Mhm.
because again, it's trial and error.
Right.
I've had sets where I didn't really get to know the actor's process and they didn't know my process, and we're kind of friction because we
Yeah.
both have a different idea of what makes a movie, and we never really had that heart to heart. So like now in each project, I'm very transparent about my expectations and what I expect from an actor, and then I ask the actor what did they expect from me. Because ultimately the more we build a foundation of trust, the more they feel that I'm there for them and I care, and I want to create a safe environment for them. The more they open up because they're the one pouring out their vulnerability on screen.
Hmm.
So trust is a very big thing.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Now, I've seen looking through your IMDb, you've directed your own writing and you've also directed other people's writing. Do you prefer to direct your own stories?
I do.
Yeah.
People have asked me to direct something that they have done, and some people were understanding, and some people not so much. But I had to really be in love with the story, um, because I mean, if I can't just do a director job just for a job. I had to be in love with every bit of story that I'm telling, and
Hmm.
really articulate that passion and love that people see from me. Because if I'm not excited or motivated, then how can I expect anybody else to be?
Excellent. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about your most recent project to hit the screen, and that is Blood on the Bleachers, like we talked about
Yeah.
it a little bit ago. It's a slasher film. It was released in
Yes.
2025. Sounds like it was pretty huge if you were turning people away. That's unheard
I
of for an
still
indie
doesn't.
picture. Holy.
I still can't believe it. I mean, I was sharing videos about that today on my
Yeah.
social media. I mean, it was just such a magical night. Everybody showed up.
Yeah.
The cast was so excited seeing all of those people, just hearing people react and laugh to the beats and the moments that you hope they did. This movie was inspired by the movie that really made me was like, I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to be a filmmaker, and that was Scream. Scream had a huge inspiration for that movie, and then finding my own story to make out of that. It was a really fun movie to make.
Yeah. Do you want to tell us a little bit about it, or
Yes. So
no spoiler synopsis?
oh yes.
Yeah.
So a psychology teacher is given this as class assessment. They're doing studies on serial killers and stuff like that, and
Yeah.
he gives them this case that may or may not be happening in their town of these random murders that may or may not be connected, and he gives the class them to group up to see if they can solve the case. Not that they're expecting them to solve it, but Hannah really wants to be a detective because her mom's a cop. And so she kind of takes it more seriously than most people. And then she started really putting together this story. And then, of course, the story kind of hits home when it start coming, to kind of start coming after them.
Hmm.
And I really always wanted to do like that murder mystery. That's what I thought was so fascinating about Scream.
Hmm.
Although I felt Scream was a little bit more obvious and I knew exactly who it was when I first saw it. But with this movie, most people had no idea who it was. And
Oh,
just, working with Lisa Wilcox, A Nightmare in Elm Street 4 and
yeah.
5, I was so nervous meeting her because I loved her growing up as Alice. She was one of my favorite Final Girls. She's definitely my favorite Final Girl from the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. And then, like me getting a hold of Leonora Scalfo from the original Scream, and I linked a character to her that kind of was a throwback, a nod from Scream, and it kind of connected with Blood on the Bleachers. And I messaged her, and I was not expecting her to respond back, and she responded back, and then we talked on the phone, and
Yeah.
she's like, "Oh my God, Chase, I love it." And then like she's shown up, and she bought her A game, and we really
Hmm.
became close, and we keep in touch to this day. Um, and that's the mask. Like it was inspired by the '90s Goosebumps, and it really had like a sinister green look. So I was like thinking of something that kind of had the eerie, creepy feeling. So this movie, you just instantly feel the '90s vibe. I
Hmm.
Know What You Did Last Summer was another inspiration we kind of went with. So, sorry, that was my
That's
wife's
okay.
computer.
Don't worry about
um,
it.
yeah, that scared me for a minute. It was like, oh, jump
I'll tell
scare
you,
now.
every time I say sorry, and I say sorry a lot because I'm Canadian, my phone thinks that I'm asking Siri. And so if I say sorry to you, it's going to come up and say yes or hello or whatever. So
That's awesome.
yeah, not that awesome. So was it a smooth production or did you hit many bumps?
No, Blood on
Mm.
the Bleachers was one of the smoothest productions up until Between the Living and the Dead. Blood on the Bleachers and Between the Living and the Dead was the smoothest shoots. It was one of those things that went a little too smooth. Like I
Okay.
was like, all right, Murphy Law, what you got for me? You're like, because The Desperate was, I mean, there was a lot of problem solving. We got a lot of rain. We were trying to make it look more like a desert. We had a lot of shots. There was, so many things and so many people to shoot. There was so many delays. Like, it was long days. There was a lot of people, and I mean, like, it was moments where I was like, man, I'm probably gonna have to do finishing funds to pick up shooting days,
Yeah.
because it was just so many things that we were, you know, um, really like fighting against. But luckily, we really all came together in the 11th hour, and we made it work, and it looks great.
Yeah.
But it was not a fun movie to make, unlike Blood in the Bleachers.
Okay. So, where can the audience see Blood in the Bleachers now, at least in the States? And for the Canucks at home who are watching this, for my
No, it's
Canadians.
so it is on Tubi, and you
Yeah.
can see it in Canada as well. It's on
Okay, cool.
YouTube. It is on Amazon Prime. Is on Google
Yeah.
Play. We do have physical copies on our merch store, so and that will be autograph signed. And it's been on other. It's probably on Fawsome now. It
Okay.
changes so much, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's doing really well on Tubi.
And
We've been on the recommended for like 4 months now.
and for the folks at home, we're going to put in whatever links Chase wants to his work. We're going to put those into the description of the video. So look in there when you're done watching the video, you can go click on some stuff and go see some movies.
Gotcha. Can you hear my dog snoring?
No.
Good. God, I was. Yeah.
I
I
can't
think
hear
my.
it, so
I
it's
think
going to
my.
be all good.
Yeah. I think she has sleep apnea or something. My God, Coco, I can't think.
Okay, so you're an independent creator, and independent creators in this day and age, crowdfunding is a necessity. It's just a fact of life. So it sounds as if your crowdfunding has been going extremely well.
Yes.
When did you start using crowdfunding as a platform to fund your movies? Like how long ago are we going back?
That is a really good question. It started in 2023 with Broken Innocence, and
Okay.
after I made Locked In, that because it was my first film coming back from a break.
Hmm.
I I could not find an investor for Broken Innocence. Immediately 2022, the original story to Broken Innocence was called A Good Girl Guide to Murder. And I did not realize it was based off a book. And
Okay.
so we were shopping around trying to get investors, because how else you going to try? This is before it ever occurred to me with crowdfunding. Luckily, I mean, usually I've always gotten like one investor where I was able to kind of fund the movie on a very
Hmm.
micro budget. But with this movie, I was like, I really want to try to move up, and I could not find one investor. And I was spending a year and a half trying to get this movie, and nobody wanted to touch on it because of the subject matter, which
Hmm.
was sexual abuse in the household, where um, it was a movie, but I really wanted to shoot it in a way where it did not deal with that, but it was more of the PTSD aspect of it. Because
Okay.
I was like, I wanted to shoot this movie and sell it to Lifetime. That was my pitch. And no one was like, oh, I don't want to touch on that subject.
Hmm.
And there was other people who was even encouraging me when I kept hitting brick wall after brick wall. And I would never forget this story. And then there was one guy who was like, I'm going to give you $50,000 to shoot this movie. And I got so excited. He's like, yeah, come on down and bring your family. We'll, go to camping and, kind of want to talk about it a little bit. So I told my wife that, hey, this guy wants us to go camping. It was weird, but I was like, hey, hey, he's going to be giving us money. So maybe he just wants to get to know the person he's investing in.
Yeah.
So after the trip, he was like, and we were done. He looked at me and he said, so I talked to my wife and she said no. So, and this was a week before we were supposed to be shooting. There, he's going to give me the check. And I had all of my team, everybody ready to go. And that was the most heartbreaking,
Oh my
gut
God.
wrenching. And I went in such a deep funk after that. And
Hmm.
then I seen Jason Horton do his crowdfunding for Craving. And I'm like, dude, you got to teach me how. Like,
Yeah.
what are you doing that I'm not like? And he was like, "Well, you should reach out to this guy named Abel Berry. He's helped me significantly." And he's like, "But I gotta warn you, he's not doing crowdfunding for nobody." And I was like, "Ah, okay, well, I'll try." So I reached out to him, and I was like, "Hey, I'm a filmmaker. I'm trying to get this movie made. I would love for you to be able to help me." And he said, "No." I was like,
Yeah.
okay. That sucks. And then I waited a couple again. Hey, no, I know you said no, but I would really trust me. I would be a great fit for you. And he said no
Yeah.
again.
Uh,
And so 2023 comes. I'm really, really, really like in a very bad spot because I've been trying to get this movie made for nearly 2 years now. And then finally, I was just like, I said, I really would like to talk to you on the phone. And I talked to him and told him what I was trying to do. And I don't know what it was, but it made him change his mind and said, okay, I'll give you a chance.
hmm.
And we went to raise 58,000 on the first crowdfunding. Um, and we got our movie made. It wasn't a fun movie to make. It was a very ambitious attempt of everything that we were doing. Um, and me and the lead actress, we didn't really see eye to eye, and that was one of those projects where we did not really understand each other in terms of and I fault myself on I could have gotten to know her a little better, and it really changed my approach of making sure do that person ever seen any of my work, and have I seen any of that person's work. And it's so important to
Yeah.
know each other's work before we work together again, and ever since I have done that and make sure, the results have just been so much better.
Yeah. Can you imagine having feeling like you have to bribe somebody $50,000 to go for them to go camping with you?
I really feel horrible for bringing my family through that, just
Yeah.
to hear that. And like, and I can imagine to my family how unlikable I probably was around that time, because I know my wife really tried to cheer me up.
Yeah.
Um, it it I I definitely know I'm some, and that's some of the things when you're making movies, and sometimes you go through the hardships, you go through the disappointments, and then but you still have a family that
Hmm.
you have to tend to, that they're depending on you. And like working at a job that you really just cannot stand, and you're going to every day, and
Hmm.
you're like, I much rather be on set or prepping a movie. And I mean, so like now I'm leaving my job in 2022 and
Yeah.
making movies full time and traveling around the US and stuff to do film conventions, and just being an entrepreneur and just doing whatever it takes to not go back to that 9 to 5. um it's a much different feeling. I don't wake up
Yeah.
every morning and going, "Oh my God, am I just go ahead and end it now."
So you brought it up. Let's talk a little bit about those conventions that you like to go to. So tell me a little bit about those.
So I love film conventions. I know everybody has a different feeling about it, but for me, it's a really good way to get your brand out there. Another thing I really love is some of the talent that I booked, celebrities I've met at conventions,
Yeah.
and they're looking for work, and you get a really good connection with them. And then, they can persuade their agent, because at the end of the day, it's them that says yes versus them not knowing any clue who you are, and the agent's going to them. But if you have like Miguel A.
Hmm.
Nunez from Juana Man, I had a really good working relationship with him. Um, he gave me his personal phone number when I met him, and I
Hmm.
met Scout Taylor Compton, and now I'm trying to get something going with her. And I met Noel G, and I
Yeah.
met a lot of people, and you bypass a lot of things. And when you really really have a good, and you can show them your trailer, and you can show them you're serious, and I really would like to work with you, and they can see your vibe and see if that feels good. They feel so much better about working with you versus unsolicited email that comes that they probably get every day, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. 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 Do you cosplay as well?
I don't, but I should. I'm
Yeah.
pretty serious when I'm at the table. At the table, like I talk to everybody, not
Yeah, it's business
expecting
time.
everybody to
Yeah.
buy something, but I'm just like, hey, how's it going? And then I'll start a conversation, or like
Yeah.
talk about movies. And they do a lot of cosplay, and I'm like, oh, that is awesome! Like there was
Yeah.
this girl dressed as Samara in a ring, and I was like, that is awesome. You're gonna win the cosplay, and sure enough, she did.
Yeah.
So it's really cool. Like this, it's just a cool vibe. Just
Yeah.
seeing everybody love the same thing you love, and that's film. It's nothing like it.
I can see that being hard for you though. If you're there on business, it's hard to do business with somebody when they're dressed like
Oh my
Chucky.
God. I will, dude.
Yeah.
I got a video somewhere in my
Yeah.
archive where I did the Chucky voice, and the guy was like, "Holy smoke!" So sometimes I do have a hard time staying in one spot because like I'm like, "Oh my God, it's Tom Savini!" And my wife's like, "I need you here." Like, and I'm geeking, and I go, and she's like, "Somebody wanted to meet you, but you weren't here." And I'm like, "Oh,
Oh
sorry."
no.
I'm like, "I'm sorry, I'm here too. I'm enjoying it."
So you've got two current yeah, you've got two projects currently in post-production. We touched on those a little bit so far.
Yeah.
One that's also very exciting that's in funding right now, and we'll talk about that one last because
Yes.
that's the big one.
Oh yeah.
Let's talk about the Desperate first. So you gave us a little touch on Desperate, how tough it was to get that guy made. What you co-wrote this one, and it's an
Yes.
action-packed crime thriller. Can you tell us a little bit
Yes.
about it?
Yes, absolutely.
Hmm.
This film I think is going to be one of the most resonating films to my audience
Hmm.
because it deals with hardship and people like if you've seen the movie Uncut Gems with Adam Sandler,
Hmm.
Ozark and Breaking Bad, kind of put that together and then you have a good idea of what The Desperate is. The Desperate is a movie about Morty and Emma who are living paycheck to paycheck and they're in debt. And no matter what they do, they don't get out of that debt. And
Hmm.
they make some really bad decisions along the process. And Morty ends up selling his kidney to the cartel and his kidney is not good. So now where he was paid the amount for his kidney, now he's negative the money he got for that on top of now he owes interest on that and he has a week to come up with the money or a kidney to replace what it was as bad. So now they have to figure out what they're going to do because now they have the cartel after him. So I wanted to do a movie where you kind of like Uncut Gems, where you see somebody, Adam Sandler's character's making his bad decision, and then he does something that's even worse, and you're just like, stop self-destructing. And you see this a lot where people make bad decisions, and
Yeah.
I think there's going to be the relatability in this film and I think a film not anything quite like this. I love the originality to it because
Hmm.
organ harvesting to the black market is about as big as sex trafficking and human trafficking. It's a big multi-hundred-billion-dollar operation that is going on in the world. And although this is not based on a true story, but we know it happens.
Hmm. Now, this is your first collaboration with Noel G. Noel G, the guy who's in
Oh,
everything.
dude, yeah,
He's
I
in
had to.
everything.
I was so starstruck meeting him. He is such a gentleman, such a wonderful
Yeah.
human being. Like I was totally geeking out meeting him. And he's
Yeah.
just like, yeah, you cool, all good, it's all love, it's all love. I'm like, dude, you're no LG. I couldn't keep looking at him because I'm a big Eminem fan, and he was Eddie in the Guilty Conscience video.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I'm like, so I'm sitting there doing Eminem versus. I'm like, but it's one of those things like I just it was so great working with him. But then when the camera rolled, he was menacing. He was really, but then when the camera was off, he was over here chasing ice cream trucks and feeding deers and stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, man, he was such a great guy to meet, and I'm so
Yeah.
glad that I worked with him. Just knowing that I seen him on the big screen and watching him when I was an adolescent and
Yeah.
now I'm directing him. I could not believe I kept slapping myself expecting to wake up.
Yeah. So, do you want to shout out any of the rest of the principal cast? Like, let us
Yeah,
do them. Yeah.
absolutely.
Hmm.
This was the second project I worked with Leonard Peterson III. He was in Blood in the Bleachers, and what I like
Hmm.
about Leonard, Um, Originally he was going to be playing Justin in Blood in the Bleachers, and um, we had a scheduling conflict come up with an actor that we had for the role of Brandon, and this was one of the leads. And I was shell shocked. I was like, "What am I going to do?" Like, we're 6 days away from shooting.
Hmm.
And my AD at the time, Angela, was like, Chase, I think you should trust me, but I think you should really hire Leonard. I think he would really, really be good for this role. And had to put my trust in somebody else that at the time I didn't know what to do. I'm like, like, oh my God, like
Yeah.
this cannot be happening to me right now. And I trusted her, and I said, okay. So she gave me his number. We're sitting there blowing up his phone, and I talked to him, and I'm like, and I think he can tell I was nervous, and I'm like, dude, I really need you to really ace this role. And he said, Chase, I tell you what, I'm going on vacation, but I'm going to study, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to know the lines, and I'm going to make sure I won't let you down. And in this line of industry, I've heard that a lot, and actually have been let down quite a bit. But um, so he came on set. He really was Brandon, and just the fact that in under a week he went from this character and transformed into another character. He was
Mm.
so good. I was like, "You are going to be in a desperate." So I pulled him back. I worked with Kansas Bolin from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood,
Yeah.
and she was in. She just recently released a film.
OnlyFans.
Yeah, no, she it was a film
Oh,
that she directed.
yeah. It's stuffed
Um,
animals or something like that.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And then she was in OnlyFans,
Yeah.
and I really wanted a girl who can really look innocent, but also is down for some really cool stuff. Like
Mm.
if she needs to, I needed that Julia Gardner look for Ozark that I was going with
Okay.
for Emma, because Emma, she although she's not a bad person, her and Morty kind of have to do some shady stuff in order to kind of make that money back. So Kansas is the perfect fit. Like, she looks like she's not quite innocent, but she's not quite guilty,
Yeah.
and she really killed it. They had a really good dynamic. And I bought back Leonora Scelfo from the original Scream. I really wanted her to dive into something much bigger because her acting chops, like, my movie was the first movie she picked back on since she done Scream, and they kind of
Really?
revamped.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was like, "I credit my career to you," and I was like, "Well, I just think we both needed the same thing." And now she's really doing a lot more stuff. She's doing
Yeah.
conventions, so I'm glad she's back in the movie industry because I loved her in Scream. I was
Yeah.
like, "Dude, you have one of the coolest roles ever. You made Sydney cry." So I mean, and then I really upped my game with this team. I hired Johnny Young, and he bought his production team, and they had a grip truck. And I swear, this movie looks like a Netflix original. I
Wow.
mean, the stuff that this movie looks like, it does not look like an indie film. And I bought him back for Between the Living and the Dead, and I mean, it's just how much we have grown. And I mean, it's night and day difference from each movie that we shoot. It's
Yeah.
just the budget just keeps getting better and better.
Well, that's the idea, right? Is onwards and upwards. It's every one you got to get a little bit better.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it makes picking the next project even more harder
Hmm.
because, like, you can't go backwards. And because I
Yeah.
felt like I did that once before. I felt like my film Beast of the Field, I felt like was a step back from Payday, because
Mm.
Beast of the Field did not look like the production value. It didn't look like the movie Payday was. Payday had a movie that really, although we shot it for like under $20,000, if you watch that movie at the time, it looks like a $50,000 budget movie.
Wow.
And Beast of the Field did not look like that, which was my next film. And I felt like it kind of really kind of made me take 10 steps back rather than forward. So, like, now, before I choose a movie, it's really, really hard to make sure you choose a project that's really going to be even more exciting to the audience.
Yeah.
And it gets harder, not easier.
So what's the distribution plan for The Desperate? Is it going to go physical first and then streaming, or is it going to go right to
Um,
streaming?
we're really my sales agent think we can do a limited theatrical release with
Okay.
this, and that's what we're trying right now.
Yeah. That's perfect. Yeah.
And then try to put it on streaming later. But
Yeah.
yeah, we have the premiere in September, and we're going to see how the test audience goes with that.
Mhm.
And we're hoping for a really solid limited theatrical release. And the good thing is people can look at Noel G and be like, I know him from something because he's been in so many different things.
I know him from
And that
everything.
really helps. Yeah, that really helps to
Yeah.
like get people to go, what is this movie?
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about Between the Living and the Dead. That's your zombie thriller that's coming up. And like you said, Miguel A. Nunez Jr. From Friday the 13th 5,
13th. Yes, that was the
Leprechaun
movie.
4.
Return
He-
of the Living Dead
yeah,
was what
right.
really made me go out and
Yeah.
get him. Um,
It wasn't
he
the
was
son, it
such.
wasn't the scene where he's singing with his girlfriend while he's on the toilet in Friday the 13th 5.
Yes, yeah, that was great. And like he does improving so
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
Because he when we talked about the character development, he's like, I just need to know one thing. Are you the director is very picky, or you
Mhm.
could I try stuff? And I'm like, dude, absolutely. And he's like, all right, I like you already. But it's actually not a zombie film.
Okay.
I kind of misled it a little bit. I kind of wanted to make it interesting to the audience to kind of not know exactly what's going on.
All right.
But it is about a massive food shortage that is a worldwide thing. And it's like a real life zombie because, again, you have cannibalism. You have people going off into different types of civilizations from cannibals to some bikers mentality. You got different types of different tribes of people. And what will the world be like with no law and order? And
Yeah.
that's kind of what you get with Between the Living and the Dead.
So who's in this one other than Miguel A. Nunez Jr.?
Oh, Casey Rhiann. I worked with her in Blood in the
Okay.
Bleachers. She's phenomenal.
Yeah.
I worked with Crystalline Walker. She was in this in a Desperate as the nun, and she had this really small part, but she was so good. And I was looking at someone who can play sisters. And I really kind of wanted to get like up and coming talent for this because I really wanted the audience to feel like they really follow in this journey between two sisters, and they had the best chemistry. And I'm so glad that we did it that way. We had John Bosler, who was in The Desperate. He was in this movie. He was Cole. He was their protector. We had Jack Burner. Tracy Wise,
Hmm.
Lisa Kernser. Oh my God, she was the Cannibal Queen. This movie
Oh,
was
yeah, I
like
saw pictures of that.
very
Yeah.
eerie. Yes, dude, she really her teeth looked like they were like super sharp. Like she
Yeah.
was so creepy. And she was tall, like
Mhm.
Elizabeth Chamberlain. Like when I was looking eye to eye to her. I was like, man, you were really tall. Like, and she committed to that role.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, Errol was one of the funnest characters to write for because I was like, this does, like seeing somebody have like their kingdom and like the tent that would look like was handmade and then like her throne. That was so fun because it
Yeah.
was kind of almost like a post-apocalyptic Mad Max, which that kind of already had that kind of world, but it's kind
Yeah.
of the vibe that it kind of looked like. It
Hmm.
really kind of almost had like a Mad Max type of vibe. But the inspiration for this movie was Yellow Jackets, The Last of
Okay.
Us, and um, A Quiet Place.
Okay. Yeah. I was gonna guess Fallout, but yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Hmm. All right. How close are we to a premiere for this one? Like how far off are we?
or Between the Living and the Dead.
Yeah.
We're still pretty early in post production
Okay.
because the
All right.
Desperate is being worked on, and
Right.
we're just now about to finish that up, and then full steam ahead with Between the Living and the Dead because this the last year and a half was the first time we started doing two projects a year.
Hmm.
So it's going to be interesting. Like every 8 or 9 months from each other, you're going to be having something come out, and it's a really good momentum to have. That's a
Yeah,
good
for sure.
problem to have. I never thought we would be to the point where we can shoot two movies a year because I have tons of ideals.
Yeah.
Like, and it just I write every day because like I'll have this ideal and I'll just write it so I don't forget. And then like sometimes they come back to me with instantly. Sometimes 5 years, 10 years from now, I
Yeah.
will finally crack the code to this. And Between the Living and the Dead was one of those projects I almost shot in 2017. And it
Hmm.
didn't work out, and then like I put it on the back burner, and it finally came back to me. And I finally, when I watched Yellow Jackets, I was like, "Ooh,
And it's a good thing. It's a good thing that
yeah,
that you waited on that one then. Yeah.
yeah." No,
Good.
I'm really glad I did because the story was so much better than I ever could have done it.
Yeah.
Nearly 10 years ago.
All right. So now let's talk about A Widow's Oath. This is the
Oh,
big one. This is one that you
yes.
co-wrote, and from what I understand, it's a revenge story not unlike Kill Bill, mixed with a little bit of Braveheart, mixed with a little bit of Assassin's Creed.
and the Patriot. I would
Okay,
put the
and the
Patriot
Patriot
in
too.
there.
All right.
Yep. Yes. So Elizabeth Chamberlain is Abigail. Abigail is like she has. I mean, she is an amazing wife. She
Hmm.
has two beautiful children, and she's married to Cameron. And all of that is stripped from her, and she watches her family publicly executed.
Hmm.
And she goes through this really dark spell, and then kind of revamp and become this fearless warrior. And just when I met Elizabeth Chamberlain in January, I I instantly knew who I wanted her to play with, because
Hmm.
she reached out to me because she complimented the trailer for The Desperate, and she was like, I would love to work with you. And we were playing phone tag with
Hmm.
Between the Living and the Dead. But then I was like, well, I kind of just want to meet her first and kind of see, because she's from Canada, and I was like, I kind of
Yeah.
just want to meet her and see what, because I put people in I worked with for Between the Living and the Dead. When I met her in January, I was like, oh my God, you are like Sophia Turner from Game of Thrones. And it really, when I seen her, I just seen someone who can really play vulnerable. I seen somebody
Yeah.
who can really play fearless.
Hmm.
And she just had all of those artistic expressions.
Yeah.
And she's so kind.
Yeah.
She's so energetic. She has amazing ideals, and we have really been bouncing around ideals. And this has been the most, and I hope no one is offended when I say this, but this has been the most exciting, best collaboration I've ever had in a pre-production process ever with anybody. Not even close. She has just been wonderful. And I mean, we just like every day we're just messaging, oh, I got an idea. And I sent her the thing for Abigail that and she's like, oh my God, Chase, I love, 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 love this. And we're just going back and forth. And we both created sketches for the design, and then she sent hers. And now we're about to get that into fruition. And it's just this, I mean, the momentum for this project is just
Yeah.
absolutely insane.
You can see it too. I told her the day that I met her on here, she's going places. Like it's just something that
I
you can tell.
without a doubt, I know she is,
We're
because I mean,
lucky
for
people to
one,
be getting in on the ground floor, right?
yes, and I
Yeah.
and I and I knew that when I met her in
Yeah.
January. I was like, I need to work with her before I
Yeah.
have to be fighting agents.
Yeah.
And what I love about her, she's super personable.
Mhm.
She's very transparent. She's really good articulating, herself. She read the script. She really is great at what ideals, and we just have a very open dialogue and transparency of what I want, and I'm like, you can speak freely without ever feeling like that you cannot express yourself, because of course I don't like eggshell type relationships. That doesn't serve
Yeah.
nobody. um and I just think what we're coming up with, and her dad has been amazing too. He's really been giving some pretty good feedback and stuff with the script, and
Shout out to
now we're
Todd.
on revision number 4.
I was just giving Todd a shout out.
Oh yeah, Todd Chamberlain, you are amazing. You
Yeah.
are such a rock star. I keep saying a father, and I'm like, Todd is amazing. But I guess it's just the respect level.
Yeah.
It's like, Todd is absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
He's really gave us some really good feedback that's really been helping, our crowdfunding. And I
Hmm.
just love how, I mean, Nicole Vegas, which
Yeah.
she's going to be playing Queen Isabel. I've been trying to work with Nicole for about 5 years now, since 2021, and she is so
Mhm.
hard to get. And I just was like, Nicole, I would really like to work with you before you get, because the same way I view Elizabeth Chamberlain, I feel exactly about Nicole Vegas. I love them dearly both. Nicole has helped me in so many ways because she
Hmm.
has so many good ideals, and she is very intelligent.
Hmm.
And I swear she can read people like instantly. It's like, I think if she came out and she was a bot, I would not be surprised, because she could read, she could look at somebody and just instantly know that person. It's like almost all the time her intuition, she's correct. But she is so like, if she cares about you,
Yeah.
she will fight for you until, and I love the loyalty between her and how she has between me and the wife. So we always have that open dialogue, and
Hmm.
she's been really helping. She was really the person that really got me in touch with Noel G.
Okay.
She's the type of person, she if like she commits to it, she will give you. I mean, she would help. She would give her all,
Hmm.
and that's the what I've really noticed between her and Elizabeth, and I think that's why this project is doing so well. They promote really well. They believe they it's hard to find people in this industry. What you see is what you get, and you
Yeah.
get this for both of them. So I'm so honored to work with both of these ladies.
So talking about the promotion, how has the
Mhm.
response been so far from the public?
Dude, I'm getting messages every
Yeah.
day, whether it's on our inbox, somebody inboxing them, Nicole sending people my way that reached out to her, or
Yeah.
Elizabeth and Todd. There's so many people, like I've never had so many people so excited to be a part of a project where I'm just like every day I'm overwhelmed in the best possible way because
Yeah.
every day I'm like I can be working for 18 hours and I didn't feel like I did enough that day because it's just so much work going on. I'm rewriting scripts for drafts because there's so much. The script has grown so much from the first moment Elizabeth told you about her reading it to now.
Yeah.
Um, the crowdfunding, we have raised over 70,000 private equity. We are at
Wow.
55,000 now on our campaign. And, so this is a really ambitious project. And just, we knew it was going to be big. And I think now it's just like this seeing how it play out, how you just knew it. It's just, you don't really get that blessed very often. And I'm taking it all in.
Yeah. So what kind of perks do you still have available for the people who are watching this now that might want to invest?
Well, yeah, so we have associate producers, we have producer perks, we have, acting perks and stuff like that. Cause I know a lot of people feel very mixed about active perks, but I feel like it's your mindset, how you look at it. Like you can go to film school and pay over $100,000 by sitting in a classroom, but we have perk options that are much cheaper than film school. You get to be on set, you get to meet people, and then you can literally, I mean, you're servicing the project, but you also are helping us raise our money, and you kind of give yourself a shot by being there. So I feel like it's a benefit to both people. I think a lot of times people don't understand that a lot of these services of crowdfunding is really I mean, we don't have no studio greenlighting us $1 million budget project. And then if you even look at the parallels of Hollywood movies, I mean, a lot of their product placements and stuff like that, that funds about 50% of Hollywood movies.
Hmm. So tell me a little bit about the location scouting, because from what I understand, you've been location scouting lately.
Dude, I'm doing so many things right now, and I'm like, how am I doing this? I'm a father of three.
Yeah.
I'm a husband, and then I have over 150 reptiles, and
Whoa,
I'm
holy
sitting
crap.
there talking to all these people, raising money,
Yeah.
overseeing two projects in post production,
Yeah.
keeping up with the project is two projects that are doing really well on streaming, and then like finding these locations. I just went to LaGrange for where they have the Renaissance Fair where they have most of
Hmm.
the location, and then I just got to look at a castle, dude. A castle. Like, oh my god, like
Where's a
that's just
castle around here?
it is in Versailles, Kentucky.
Hmm.
And it's like so ironic. Like, so I looked at it, I was like, there's a couple things we're gonna have to do, but the fact that I'm looking at a castle.
Yeah.
Then I did a podcast yesterday. Big shout out to Adam. He gave me like a producer's tour to look around the LEX studio, and they
Oh,
were
wow.
like, so if I can put you in touch with the owner, so if you ever need like something and stuff like that, we can make you some stuff. And I was like, okay.
Well,
Huh?
I don't know
So that's really
anybody to
cool.
put you in contact with, so you're not getting any perks from me, unfortunately.
But I'm having a great conversation,
All
and that
right,
to
that's
me, I
good.
don't, like everything's not about
Yeah,
what does this take, where does this benefit. The fact
for
that I'm
sure.
on this show and you're giving me
Yeah.
exposure is benefit enough.
Okay, that's good.
Thank you.
One other,
I
you
count
don't
my
have to thank me.
blessings.
I'm going to thank you for being here.
No, I gotta thank you. You said
Yeah,
yes. You set up the
yeah,
date, and I count my blessings. Gratitude, in my opinion, is
yeah.
one of the highest form of vibrations you can put out to the universe. So
Excellent. When's the plan to start filming this one?
next March, we're going to start March
Okay.
22nd through April 5th. And I'm trying, if I keep going the pace that I am, I'd be able to add more additional dates because I would like to have 20 days to shoot this movie.
Yeah, yeah. All right.
Also,
Cool. Yeah.
somebody said they're going to give us horses, dude.
Horses.
like horseback riding, like that's gonna be epic.
So
Do
I
you
don't know if
picture
you.
Elizabeth on a horse?
I've seen Elizabeth on a horse.
Really? I'm
Yeah, I'm
not
pretty sure.
surprised. Like
Yeah,
this woman can sing.
yeah,
Like she can be like a live action Anna from Frozen. Like she
yeah. She can be live action Anna from Frozen. She could be Link from Legend of Zelda. She can sword fight. She can dance.
dude.
She can,
She
yeah,
totally like she can
yeah,
be whatever you need her to be.
yeah,
Like she like, and that's why when I seen her, I just seen that
yeah.
vulnerability, but then I also seen that side I need for her when she's making that oath to her husband and
Hmm.
she gets vengeful. I'm like, who's
Yeah,
better than Elizabeth Chamberlain?
yeah. All right. So I don't know if you've seen many of my interviews before, but now we are coming to the point that I like to call the lightning round.
Oh,
All right. So
okay.
I'm going to fire some quick questions at you and just answer with the first thing that comes into your head. Everybody gets stressed out, but they always end up having fun. It always ends up being a big laugh. And you're
Yeah.
going to have some questions that haven't been asked before because I just recently beefed up this section a bit.
I love those questions.
Perfect. All right. So, my first question to you is, what's your favorite Universal monster?
Favorite Universal monster, Chucky.
Chucky. Okay, I'll count him as a Universal monster.
He is. He's not. He died and came back. He's.
Yeah. Oh, I meant like Universal Studios, like Frankenstein and Dracula and
Oh,
all those guys.
oh,
But
I would
Chucky,
have
we'll
to
go with
say.
Chucky. Somebody
Well,
answered
he is
Godzilla before.
universal. He is universal.
Yeah, there
But
you
if you're
go.
talking about like, if you're talking about classic, I would
Hmm.
have to say Frankenstein.
Frankenstein. Okay. Who is? What's the strangest thing in your fridge? That's a good one.
Um, no, no. Well, it's not my fridge, but my. Could I say freezer?
Yeah, yeah.
Frozen rats.
Frozen rats.
My
Oh my God. Oh,
snakes.
you got reptiles. Oh, okay. That's an easy. So that's an easy
That's
one
pretty
for
strange.
a reptile owner. Okay.
Yeah.
What's your go-to karaoke song?
Not afraid by Eminem.
Okay. If you were a pastry, what kind of pastry would you be?
Man, I probably would be a bagel.
Okay.
I'm like hard on the outside, but I'm very soft and vulnerable on the inside.
Oh, that's a good reasoning too. Toilet paper roll. Business in the front or party in the back? Over the top or back behind?
Back behind
Back behind? Okay. All right. Ninjas, pirates, or cowboys?
a ninja dude.
Yeah. That leads me to my next question. If you could time travel, what period of time would you travel back to?
I would like to go back to 1963, November 22nd.
Okay.
That's the assassination day of JFK.
Oh,
I
okay.
have some theories that I would like to see for myself to see if it matches up.
Interesting. All right. What's your favorite day of the week?
Well, everything's Friday when you're an entrepreneur.
All right. Who's the best James Bond?
Oh, dude, Sean Connery with Roger Moore.
All right. Excellent. Adult beverage of choice, if you drink. I'm not sure.
I don't. I
No,
quit
okay.
drinking 20 years ago.
Okay. All right. That's a good answer too. Quitting drinking is great. All right.
Yeah, but no, I don't have a problem with it. It's just for
Okay.
me, I
Mhm.
don't like my mind altered.
Yeah. Marvel, DC, or other?
Marvel.
Marvel. Okay. Favorite snack?
Mm. Man, that's a good question because I snack so much, but I have to say, man, really good question. I would have to say chocolate milk. I know this, like,
Okay.
I drink a lot of chocolate milk.
All right. If you had to eat a crayon, what color of crayon would you choose to eat?
Ugh. Um, blue.
Blue. Okay. Excellent. You survived the lightning round. Congratulations.
Nice. That was a little harder than I thought it was, especially with the snack, because I really
Yeah.
struggled because I'm like, I'm what do I I'm like, I do drink so much chocolate milk, and that
Do
is
you?
such, yeah,
Like for
I
protein
love,
or?
yeah, I don't know what it is. I'm
Ah,
addicted to chocolate milk.
hmm. All right. Well, Chase, we might as well wrap it up then, since we've talked about
Yeah,
everything
I
you
hope,
can possibly imagine.
yeah, I hope I did good. I know I was a little all over the place, but
No, you did great. You did great. Don't worry
good,
about it.
good.
Thank you so much for coming on and spending some of your time to talk with me, especially in
Of
the evening,
course.
which is your family time. Uh,
Yes,
I
but it
wish,
was.
sorry, go ahead.
No, I said. I'm sorry. I keep over talking you.
That's,
I said, but it was worth it.
yeah. Oh, thank you. I wish all of your upcoming projects great success. And I know that it was at Widow's Oath is going to be huge. I already know it.
Yeah,
Elizabeth's a huge talent. You've got lots of other huge talent backing her up there,
yeah.
and you're a huge talent too. And she's perfect for the role that you've given her. And I can't wait to see it.
I appreciate that. I don't know if I'm a big talent, but I'm working with a lot of amazing people. Yeah, I get up every morning, 5:30 a.m.
Mhm.
Regardless, I'm very committed, and I go to businesses, try to get sponsors.
Mhm.
I always get product placements. I'm always talking to people. I have my cut to the chase that I have like five shirts
Yeah.
because it's what I wear Monday through Friday. Um, I promote myself. I got the QR code where people could,
Mhm.
search me, and I literally talk to everybody, and I do that as if like there is no tomorrow.
Before I let you go, though, Chase, if a producer or an investor happens to be watching this and they want to get in touch with you, what's the best way for them to do that?
Reach out to me on Facebook. I am very responsive there. But if you want to email me more, formal, you can enter. You can email us at acut the chase productions at gmail.com.
And we'll put that in the links too. If they let us put an email address, we'll put it in there. I don't know if
Awesome.
they will. We'll see.
No, I,
All right. Well, thanks so much, Chase, for joining me, and I hope that all of the flooding in your basement is taken care of soon, and your reptiles are back up to their old tricks.
Oh yeah, no, they got the flooding out and everything. Now they're rebuilding everything because of
Yeah,
the water damage and everything.
yeah, yeah.
So I don't know if you can hear the drilling downstairs. They've been
Oh, I can't.
work. Yeah, they good because I was
Yeah,
worried about that because
yeah,
that's where my movie room is, and I'm actually in my wife's office now.
yeah.
So
All right. Thanks so much for joining me.
oh no, I had a great time. Thank you.